Hello, Eternal Gunslinging friends! We have another Eternal Deck Tech and Matches video here for you today. I'm going to be doing something that's probably a little bit more competitive this time, but we're still going to be trying to do something stupid with it. So, as I usually do, I've got Praxis here. Now the idea is, the stupid part of this is Praxis Trove Restrained Action. So what that's going to do is, Restrained Action is a curse that at the start of your opponent's turn, at the end of your opponent's turn, you will be able to put in a 1-cost unit into play, and then it'll increase that ability by 1. So you slowly ramp up every single turn. The other thing that it does is, of course, when the curse player plays a unit, it gives it a -1 curse. Now the other side of that is Praxis Trove. And Praxis Trove says when you play a 1-cost unit, play a random 1-cost spell from your deck, then increase these abilities by 1. You can see where the combo is. I mean, not combo, but the synergy. So you're going to try and get a 1-drop, which will up the Praxis Trove, give you a 1-cost spell, and it'll just kind of keep going up together that whole way. That's the very dumb core of the deck. The part of the deck that's actually good is the rest of it's just a bunch of really great creatures. So, like, I've been playing this a little bit, and I've been winning quite a few games in casual because it's just got a core of fantastic creatures around it. We're going to be doing a lot of ramping because, obviously, Restrained Action costs 6, and so we've got Initiate of the Sands and Trailmaker to fix our mana and also give us a bunch of extra power so that we're able to play Restrained Action faster and just power through enough of our deck quickly. We've got Valkyrie Enforcers to silence things. It's also a really good one to get with Restrained Action because obviously we can kind of get rid of threats. Same with Saber-Tooth Prideleader. Kill enemy relics. It's really relevant that way. Good against the aggro decks that are kind of everywhere right now. We've got Worldbearer Behemoth. And we've got Grodov Stranger as just some very, very powerful top end. And so you can see, like, our units are just really good. We've got a couple of ways, like, we've got this that just silences things and is a nice threat in the air. Saber-Tooth Prideleader able to ambush and also kill off relics, so get other threats out of the way. And then we've got 2 really high-level top-end threats on our own. And we can just get those out with Initiate and Trailmaker anyways. We don't actually need the Praxis Trove Restrained Action. It's just really fun when we do. So the other half of that is we need spells to match all the way up the curve with all of these units that we're running, right? So we've got Calibrate as a 1-cost spell so that we can find the Praxis Trove and Restrain Action, as well as Seek Power to help fix our mana again. We've got Kairos' Choice. The reason why I went with Kairos' Choice, I originally had things like Purify and was looking at a bunch of different cards to go with this for procs off of the Praxis Trove, but Praxis Trove plays a random cost spell from your deck. So if we get a random 2-cost spell, and we have something like Purify, we can have it just not really do anything, kill our own units even. Like if we do that with like Seer, we might just have to go face, stuff like that. So I wanted to go with Kairos' Choice, because that allows us to put a unit into our hand instead, so we can use Valkyrie Enforcers or Saber-Tooth Prideleaders again by just buying them back, right? So we get some cool things to do there. We have Enter the Monastery as additional ways to ramp our deck up. So we've been able to do that off of the Valkyrie Enforcer. We can just get an Enter the Monastery, and we can obviously do it normally. Same with Stand Together, and Perilous Research, just as a one-of to make these cheaper, and because I wanted to for fun. I won't lie. We've also got, it's also really good because we're going to use Call for Aid as well. So if we get enough relics, getting the Alarming Findings to draw a bunch of cards is another way for us to just end the game. Because we're going to do Call for Aid. Again, more ramp, a little bit of extra card draw for us to try and find the Restrained Action Praxis Trove, because that's one of the bigger things that we need to be able to find those cards to get that synergy rolling too. And it's not like Primal, we don't have a ton of like dedicated search and draw and stuff like that, so we're going to try and do what we can with time to fill in those gaps, right? Instead use Calibrate and use Call for Aid, do that kind of thing instead. We've got, anyways, Call for Aid, which will draw us the card, Power Stone, gain some life off the Saber-Tooth. We have Obliterate at our 5 to go with the Worldbearer. We can just go face, or we can kill off important units. We've got Passage of Eons. Obviously, we already have Saber-Tooth Prideleader, but we only have 3 of them. There's a reason why I went a little bit lower on Enforcer and Saber-Tooth, because I wanted to do Passage of Eons. It's a blowout against certain decks, so it's still nice to have as a one-of. And Reality Snap is another 6-drop, because it's surprisingly sick for a lot of tempo, and it goes back into our deck, so we can just buy it back again off of the Revenge if we happen to have another Grodov Stranger the next turn, that kind of thing. Yeah, and we don't really need to go beyond 6, I think, because by that point, if we've got Restrained action, and we've had it in play, and it's gotten to 6, and we're still losing the game, I don't know that we're going to find a better way to have that work. So, we're just going to leave it up at 6 and see where we go from there. I'm going to try this deck out. For our mana base, too, sorry. We have a lot of Sigils, because we do have Seek Power. We have Enter the Monastery that gets Sigils, and we have Grodov Stranger that also gets Sigils. So we need to have just a ton of Sigils. We've got Crest of Impulse, Rakano, Cylix, and Crest of Progress as kind of the ways to make up for that. I wanted to go with the Rakano Cylix instead of the Crests, because sometimes these are undepleted, and then when they're not depleted too, you also get that Treasure Trove, right? So being able to get the Treasure Trove basically makes it similar to a Crest of Impulse, maybe even a little bit better, or like a Crest of whatever the Rakano crest is. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. Crest of Honor, whatever it's called. But drawing the extra card is slightly better than scouting, and it's just not going to happen all the time, but it's also less likely to be depleted all the time, which is an upside there. So that's what we're going to be doing for our power base. The power base is the one that I'm the least certain about. I've only tried it a couple times. It's a hard balancing act with Enter, Seek Power, that kind of thing. But we've got the Trailmakers to make up a little bit of the problems of any kind of faction requirements, and we don't have too many hard ones. Like Praxis Trove is only 1 red, Restrained Action is just 1 green. It's really like Enter the Monastery and Valkyrie Enforcer that are harder to cast for us, and we should be able to make up for that. So we're going to jump on into some casual games, and I'll see you in just a minute.